So everybody join in here. 1 second, please. I would have gotten this. I would have started a little bit earlier, but it took me a minute to get the. For some reason, the original teaser didn't post. But sorry about that. All right, get that tweeted there, and let's see here, and we're good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. And so, pretty excited about the series here this week. We're going to be talking about upper and lower geos. So, a couple little geometric mathematical things to look at that can really potentially help trading. And at least something to give a different perspective, and I think you guys will like it. So good stuff there. Before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, first things first, we're going to take a look and see where we left off at the market here today. And then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening and what might be setting up going into tomorrow. And then we'll take a look at the topic and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, guys, so SPX, another drifter up like last Thursday. So up about 11 points here today. Green on the monthly chart, green on the weekly chart. But look at this McClellan oscillator. Doesn't seem to be trusting it too much. Really kind of pulling back here. There's always a potential bearish divergence right here. There's been a lot of overbought levels here on the weekly chart. We're not over the upper Bollinger Band here on the weekly. So let's see what they have in store. Daily chart, again, an amazing bounce, right? Super narrow range on Friday, one of the most narrow ranges we've seen, I think, all year. And then today we got a little bit of contraction to expansion, but wow, it went down and then up again like a champ. And so pretty cool stuff. I mean, basically the big thing that we were tracking right here is the potential for a wave 4 pullback today, because this was an impulsive move up, but didn't really feel impulsive because of the volume. And then we got this nice down move right here, and I was like, yeah, this thing's going to go A, B, C, and get going here today. But it looks like that was it, right? The only way that this, I'm going to keep it just a question mark right now, because there could still be an expanded flat, but it just doesn't look like it, right? This is an expanded flat right here, right? It just kind of goes a little bit above it and kind of goes down. This is looking impulsive. I mean, look at these. These are like just straight green candles all day today, and it was a nightmare, right? It is. These are the hardest days to trade for real, and and the reason is because there's no volume, right? It's just like this infinite drift up. And you can see, I mean, the volume was just atrocious today. Just continued to drift up, and of course, the end of the day, skews the daily volume. But this volume was just horrible. It just kept on drifting its way up, just drift, and just it did the exact same thing last Thursday. Here on the 12th, right? It was the exact check. It was like a checkbox reversal, a checkmark reversal, boom, boom. But today was just incredible. And then even after this bearish move at the open here, it not only got through that level, but I mean pushed to all-time highs and kept going all day, even into the close. It was just amazing. So anyway, this is what it is. So cool stuff there. Let's take a look at the S&P futures. See what we're up to or down to here this evening. So S&P futures about sideways here. Again, we had a nice down move this morning, right? We were tracking the channels overnight, right? We had this channel going into the night, right? We talked about that last night. Broke down right here. It was looking pretty good. Came back, retested it. That failed. Came back down, bounced off the channel, right? And then it just kind of came to our signal zone right here, and it gave us a harmonic. But I mean, this is more than any sort of crab pattern you can imagine, right? This is like beyond the 3.618, right? If you kind of go here where the harmonic happened, you go here, here, and here. 3.618 is right here. So this thing just blew through it. Just didn't care. So pretty nasty stuff, really, but incredible, right? So this market is just relentless, So anyway, guys, let's see what it does here. You got kind of a triangle going into this here, so just see how it holds going into tonight. See if we get any overnight drift and where we go from there. Down about 2 points, but I mean, we were down 20 points this morning. I don't think that mattered. So anyway, we'll see what we got. So pretty interesting stuff here. Have to be some sort of catalyst of some sort to kind of get things going again, but we'll see. Anyway, that's the future. So cool. So again, guys, this week we're gonna be going to the topic right here, and we're gonna be talking about upper and lower geos. So geo is an abbreviation that we pretty much made up in our group, right? But it's I love it because it just represents just geometric lines, right? We've got our trend lines, and hopefully everybody's been following us for a while knows the difference between a trend line and a geo. Real quick, the big difference is a trend line. If you go to our YouTube and you look at our videos, right, you just go from low, you go to high, and then you connect it to the first pivot point, the first turning point where it didn't intersect, right? Where it doesn't intersect. So right here. right? So there's your trend line, right? We broke down below the trend line here after hours, kind of drifting sideways, right? No confirmation yet to the downside, but it kind of is what it is. This line right here is a geo, right? It's a geometric line, right? Some folks call them trend lines, but it's not a trend line, right? This is a trend line. This is a geometric line, right? So we just call them geos for abbreviation. So what we're going to look at today is upper and lower geos. Now, for the most part, when we're moving up, we look at the lower geos, right? We look at the trend lines, right? So it's kind of like a square trend lines. It's a special type of geo, right? We look at these two, right? We're kind of bullish, right? So those are kind of the big things we look at. They form flags. They form other things. We've done a whole series on it, how geometric lines can create shapes and patterns, right? So pretty cool stuff there. So what's an example of a geo right here that we've kind of been looking at, right? So a lot of times you can kind of see this stuff with channels, but if you just go to the SPX, and just kind of go to the daily chart, right? So an upper geo would be this, right? So lower geos, right, we connect, we look for breakdowns, but upper geos, we look for potential resistance, right? And you can kind of see that right here. So if we just kind of go from here up through here, right, you can see how well this served as resistance for a while, right? So we kind of got here, we pulled back. We got here, we pulled back. We got here, we definitely pulled back this morning, and we were down like 20, 30 points here this morning, and then they just bought the dip and they plowed through it. So this geo has been taken out, but that's an upper geo. Right, so another example of this that you can look at on the intraday, just to kind of show you guys, and this is just to help your perspective, right, and just kind of see, what's going on, right? So I mean, you kind of do like a little geo right here, right? So you can't get above that, boom, and we ended up moving down off of it, right? So pretty cool stuff, right? So let's go to Disney, right? So if we go to Disney on the intraday, I've got an example of this right here. If you go back a couple days on the here we go, this one right here. So on the 10th, on August 10th. So you got this geo right here, right? So notice how we pushed up to the geo, right? We ended up consolidating, going sideways. We couldn't break above it, and then we started to move back, right? So if you start doing this intraday, you'll start seeing that these upper geos can be nice levels of resistance, right? You just have to find the right one and see where it makes sense. You just have to eyeball it and look for higher lows or higher highs, and then just kind of stretch it out and see where it happens, right? So like today, this is Disney, yes, this is Disney after earnings, but so today. You can kind of look at here, you get a higher high right here, right? It kind of broke above it and worked down, so that ended up not giving any confirmation to the downside on that one, right? So, but that's just basically what it does, right? So, and it can be pretty helpful, right? You saw this geo right here is a little one, right? A little bit of resistance off of that. Once we broke through there, it was pretty bullish. So, one more. Let's take a look at one more here. So on SPX, if we go back a couple days right here, I drew a couple of these here the other day, but one example is this here, right? These two guys right here, right? You can see that ended up forming a nice, this little kind of mini geo right between these two guys right here ended up forming resistance, right? So you had an upper geo right there. And then we had another one right here, which was pretty interesting. If you kind of stretch this out like a couple of days, you get this to here, right? You can see that served as a little bit of resistance going into the next day. And of course today was just basically like fully obnoxious, right? So another interesting one I think we see right here. You can take this geo, see these guys that we put a higher low in, or higher high in, right? Stretch the geo out right there, turn it into resistance the next day, right? So pretty cool stuff. So definitely look at these guys. We're going to be covering more of these going out through the week and a couple techniques that I think you guys will enjoy. But until then, guys, that's wrapping up here today. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. At this point now, if anybody's got any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window. We'll get through as many as we can, try to wrap as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So let's take a look here at let me get to the daily chart. So we got a couple in here via email, Twitter, etc. So let's get that pulled up here. So Shirley sent a few in via email. So let's take a look at these. We got Futu on the radar. So Futu, wow, big breakdown, right? We talked about this one recently, right? We talked about this bear flag right here, and it really, really broke down here below the 80 MA. And this was a huge breakdown today, losing some levels. So keep an eye on that on the bearish radar. AI, again, same thing, increase volume here at the downside. It looks like it's all-time lows. Run with another breakdown here for the solar sector, getting a little bit weak. And SE with earnings tomorrow morning, so a little bit of caution off of this one. So just keep an eye on that there. And then finally OSH, let's take a look. OSH just nasty, right? Just nasty. So again, keep an eye on it, see if it breaks down below those lows, see if it's getting more downside. So good stuff there. Great find on that one, Shirley. OTAS sent a few in here via Twitter. Let's take a look. So you got UNH on the radar. UNH, yeah, finally made a move. Look at that. Good push here again over the 80 MA. Let's see if they get some upside follow through. Pfizer, again, still going. This thing's a monster, right? Double inside day up. Again, just it has not stopped. Pins, still struggling right here, but coming into a little bit of support, a little bit of volume there on a hammer candle, so see how that goes. Apple, guys, from our show last night, break out of the triangle, and doji sandwich up, right? They didn't make it easy today, right? They had a nice push at the open and a huge dip, and then the dip buy just kept on going, so because today's market was just completely insane. And then Facebook with an outside day today, right? Almost a bullish engulfing candle, except we're not in a downtrend, but nice candle here today. Increased volume over the ADMA. We'll see if it gets any follow through to the upside. So good stuff there. I don't think it filled the gap. Low 66.93, high 60. Oh, it did. It filled the gap here today. So pretty cool stuff there. It ended up just kind of pulling back off of it. So see if we can get over today's highs and see if we can get going. So good stuff there. Options Rock sent a few in via Twitter. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate everything. Shirley, Otas. Options, I would say like PD breaking down here below the cloud. So a little bit of caution there. SSYS. Big breakdown with increasing volume under the ADMA. So a little bit of caution there as well. EXAS. Nice hammer here with increasing volume, so see if that can break over today's highs and keep going. Piton. Piton was nice today. I mean, it was kind of interesting. It was it was tricky, right? It gave a big move during the open. There's a little bit of news on it, I suppose, and it was just just kind of ran out of steam, right? So so let's see. It's just a doji right here, so you really need to kind of see how it does that. It could be a doji sandwich down. Right, we had a couple nice pops on it here today, but ended up turning into a potential doji sandwich, or it could be a doji reversal. You just have to see how tomorrow's price action goes. So good stuff there. And Angelo, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. You got Tesla. Tesla with a big breakdown here today, guys. This thing looks pretty weak, right? I mean, obviously anything could happen. It's down a little bit after hours. It's got a lot of issues, right? Autopilot investigation by the U.S. You got issues in China with autopilot. You got Tesla that still hasn't come out and said anything about their spontaneous meltdown of their new Plaid vehicle. Like I said, guys, it's tough to be bullish on this name until they can resolve all this stuff. So it's just kind of doing its thing. A breakdown below today's lows could start to see a push down to the 200-day moving average. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. Amazon, guys, I love this candle. This is one of my most favoritist names going into the next 2 weeks. This could really turn into a big reversal if we get any follow through. Just incredible, right? So pushed over the geometric line right here, inside day down and back into range, right? So we'll see if it pushes over Friday's highs. But this is just what we were looking for, a big hammer candle off of the 200-day moving average for a potential for Amazon to start working its way back up again. So pretty cool stuff there. So me, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see Airbnb. Yeah, Airbnb kind of hanging in there, just nasty day today, but inside day. So just kind of see how that holds here. I got a little bit of a dip buy once it got below the gamma flip level today. OIH. Nasty down move, but keep an eye on the USO. Had a decent recovery here today to fill the gap, so see if that can work its way back up. That was one of the stronger sectors today from the open. So good stuff there. Yeah, my pleasure. And Armando, what's going on? Happy Monday. Good to see you. Let's see LRCX. Yeah, this one had a good day today. Looks like a bullish engulfing candle, right? So kind of back into the triangle. See if it gets any upside follow through. WBA. Hanging in there, but could be bull flagging, right? So just kind of keep an eye on it, see how it goes. I wouldn't force anything here, but see if we can get a breakout above this level, see if Walgreens can get going again here. And CRM. CRM with crazy dip by today. Big bounce off our geometric line that we drew right here and off of the cloud. So let's see if it gets any follow through on this one, if it has any more strength off of that big dip by. Triangle, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's see D-Dog. D-Dog kind of hanging in there, still kind of doing its thing, right? We're looking for some strength over the gap up high, but it did bounce off of the ADMA here today. We saw a lot of that today. Sava, a little bit weak there. This is probably one I wouldn't really mess with. It's kind of chopping here after hours. It is above the ADMA, though, so see if that continues to hold. Roku looking pretty rough right here, guys. I mean, I just think there's so many people that are shorting Kathy's trades. She got in here at $170 million on this day, right? And it ended up pulling back here, still under the ADMA, right? And we're now a doji below the 200-day, right? So watch for a doji sandwich to the downside, but she's down basically $22 million in that position. That's an ouchie, right? I know she got $58 billion, but still, come on, right? Anyway, Grug, let's take a look here. Again, a pot sector is so weak today. So again, we might see more downside follow through on this one, just that pot sector is really weak. And Magnite, again, this one's looking pretty weak here too. So see if it breaks down below these lows. It's not too far from this kind of supported level. It's 26.85. So keep an eye on that one too. Cool. Well, good stuff, guys. Awesome chart request tonight. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is going to be a fun series this week, guys. Stay tuned for tomorrow's show for upper and lower geos. We're going to have some cool techniques coming out through this week, so definitely check us out as we do this each night here at 7:30. In the meantime, guys, really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the questions, chart requests. We'll see you guys bright and early right here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Prep video, bright and early tomorrow morning. And until then, guys, thanks again, and stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first and stay